Namaskar. Welcome to Amska Academy. This is SESHU. We are going to be your facilitator to understand what is the role of the executive in implementation of the law. Who is an executive? Executive, the functionaries who take the day-to-day work or the decisions but not exercise the supreme power on behalf of the people are known as executives. Those who do the day-to-day tasks are known as executives. They will not have any power to take any decision on behalf of people, but they will be executing as an in charge of the execution of the policies of the government. So the decision will be taken in the parliament and then will be implemented by the executives. Executives discharge the day-to-day functioning or implementation of the law. That is the duty of the execution. We have two types of executives: political executive and permanent executive. How many types of executives do we have? Two types: political and permanent. Now, in a democratic country, two categories make up the executive: the political as well as the permanent. Coming to the political executive, they are elected by the people for a specific period of time. So, the political executives are always elected for a specific period of time. Generally, it is 5 years in our country. Coming to permanent executive, the permanent executives are appointed for a long-term basis. They always have title as civil servants, or they are also known as civil servants. They remain in office even when the ruling party changes. So even when the ruling party is not in power, still the member who is executing the law will be in power. Means he is a permanent executive. But when it comes to the private or the political executives, they are for a short period of time, 5 years. But when it comes to permanent executive, they will be there for their entire service, because their duty is to carry the work under the political executive and assist them for carrying out the day-to-day administration. There are two types of executives: political executive and permanent executive. Political executives are elected for short period of time. Permanent executives are for long period of time or their entire service, because the purpose of political permanent executive is to assist the political executive in carrying out day-to-day administration. That's why permanent executives serve for long term. Powers of permanent and political executives. The political executive has more power than the permanent executive when they are compared. This is because the political executive is elected by the people, and in democracy, the will of the people, the idea of the people is supreme. Whomever the people like, those people are the complete boss of the system. That is the basic idea of democracy. That's why the political executives will exercise more power on behalf of people. They are answerable to the people for all consequences. Then when it comes to permanent executive, they are highly educated and experts in the field or in the subject. Those only become the permanent executives. For instance, an advisor on the finance ministry knows more about economics than the finance ministry. So here, still the decision will be taken by finance minister, and the political executive can give advice to the prime political heads, and permanent executives decide the overall framework and the objectives of the policy, how it has to be implemented. The decision will be taken by the political executives. The implementation is carried by permanent executives. Who are the examples of permanent executive? The examples of permanent executives are IAS, IPS officers, all the civil servants. The examples for political executives are the ministers. Ministers come under the category of political executives. They are elected by people. That's why they exercise more power. But when it comes to the permanent executives, they are well educated and experts in the field or in the subject, but they are only advisors and the implementation officers of the policy. They decide overall framework and the objectives of the policy.